If you never played Total War Attila, we mourn for you. It was on the steps of this work of art that the Great Bobo Khan was born. And I got a message for that special Bannerlord. You know who you are. Got that mercy trait, IRL. You don't want to raid villages because you want to be a noble emperor of a noble empire. I hear you. But pick up that history book and point out all the noble conquerors you find. There will be a noble empire that my sons and grandsons build. But first, the empire must be forged. And that requires two things: heat and power. And my Consguard will tell you we got plenty of both out here on the steppe. And good news, it's coming to a neighborhood near you. And any smith will tell you, the more resistant the material, the hotter the forge must be. Why do we raid? We raid to break the ability and will of our enemy to resist, so that we can forge a fucking empire that our people will thrive under for centuries. And guess who they'll still be talking about all those years from now? That's what Bobo Khan's trying to tell you. Don't hate the player, hate the game. And for all my Calradian conquerors out there, we're about to school you up on how to turn up the heat. So let's go back in time to the young Bobo, fresh on the steppe with his war band. The Aserai declared war on us, and now it's time to heat things up. And here's this village of Haka looking like a little snack pack. First thing I want you to see, when you highlight a village, do you see the Hearths stat? That number represents how large the town is. So, I mean, if you loot a village with 800 plus Hearths, that'll feed your party for a year. 245, not that much. Probably been raided a few times already. Okay, raiding reduces the Hearths in a town. The number of Hearths that are destroyed during a raid fluctuates greatly depending how hard you go. We'll get to that in a second. But I want you to see that Hearth stat. That's how large a village is. The larger the village is, the more roguery you'll get from raiding it. We're coming in to raid this village. First things first, we're going to click Take Hostile Action. Here we are. We want to raid. Every time you raid a village, you're going to have to fight the militia and the villagers. They're going to perform some noble last stand. If you manually fight these battles, you will never take a casualty. If you simulate them, you will get slaughtered nonstop. I don't know what that's about, but it's just true. Right there, 3 casualties. No way I take that if I fight, but that's just the nature of it. The first raiding option here is just the good old-fashioned raid. We're going door to door. We're slaughtering people. We're burning shit down. It's devastating to the village, but you're going to get a ton of loot. And this style of raiding gives you the most loot, and it gives you by far the most XP. People come into all my roguery videos and all my raiding videos. It's like, you don't actually need to wait and burn them down the whole time. You can just, force loot or force recruits and then burn them down, and that's much faster. You can, but you are sacrificing thousands of raiding XP, especially the more you do it. Now, those other styles of raiding are very important, and I do use them. I mean, they have their place. But when it comes to leveling up roguery and getting a ton of stuff out of a village, you just got to go old-fashioned raiding for that. I'll speed this up to get to the end here, and you can see that it takes a while to go all the way through a village with 40 guys. The larger your party or army, the faster you'll clear a village. You got an army of like 500-600, you'll take one of these villages down in a few ticks. So the size of your party determines how fast you raid. There's also some roguery perks that can give you a little faster speed too. But when it comes to raiding, there's a spectrum. And option number 2 is for those of you who are a little more reasonable, right? Like you understand the need to sometimes have to kind of shut a village down for a tactical advantage, but you don't want to be a jerk about it and burn it to the ground. You just want to shut them down for a little bit, lock them down. What you could do is you could come in here and instead of just going in and raiding the village and burning everything down, you just talk to the notables. And you're going to say, I want all your young men of fighting age. And of course, they're going to resist. So you fight the bloody battle. But once the resistance is crushed, now they're going to bring you a batch of recruits. The bigger the village, the more recruits. You can see, though, that just by taking that action, it didn't actually shut the village down. So what you'll have to do, if you want to stop the villagers from taking food to a town, and you really want to lock it down for a bit, you're going to have to just top it off. And now, look, they're kind of shut down for a while. They'll recover because, look, they still have 218 hearths. When we burned everything down to the ground, they were down to like 147. And they're still going to lose a few for the next, little bit. But you can see this is much gentler on the population. If you need to shut these villages down for a while, but you don't want to be a monster about it, this is a great option for you. If you hit a village till it's smoking like this, it is shut down for about 15 days. No recruits, no villagers taking stuff to town. Option number 3, force peasants to give you goods, is kind of a hybrid between a full raid and give you recruits. So instead of gathering you up recruits, now the men of the village have to grab you a bunch of goods. You may not want this culture's recruits. You may rather have food for your army or whatever, maybe your town. You can just click on that. Again, you're going to have that village battle. We sim it. But I hate this option because you can't trust these damn villagers. Look what they brought me. 1 bag of grain and 1 horse. And so those are your options when it comes to raiding. Up here at the top, most loot, most roguery skill, most brutal. These other 2, far less rewards, but just as effective at shutting the village down and way less brutal. One of the things you'll notice right away when you're raiding, you'll see the hearths dropping there as you search and destroy. But look at the loot over there on the left. See how it's kind of filling up piece by piece? The fatter the village, the fatter the loot. I'll give you an example out here at Jahasam where you can see our hearths are up to 606. And here we are far away from being able to get reinforcements, right? So when you're out here, as much as it can suck sometimes, I really do suggest if you're going to raid a village that you manually fight. Now, I'll go ahead and send the troops for time's sake, but I would never. I would fight that manually because I just got freaking devastated. I told you, these village battles are the bloodiest in all of Bannerlord. I don't know what it is about that, but that's what it is. And I'm down to 21 guys. I mean, my party's already small. Now it's micro. It won't be long before some big party comes to shut me down. But do take a look here, because we were at 0 roguery when we started this. I should have shown that. But we were at 0, and we're already at 13. That's the difference between a 250 village and a 6 whatever village. The XP you get from raiding is tied directly to the amount of loot you get. And you can see how much stuff we're getting compared to that other village. Even if you can't fully raid the village, just sitting here and getting what you can while you can, you're going to get a ton of roguery skill, and you're going to get a lot more food because it's a food village. Oh, red light. Okay. So here comes Mr. Killjoy to kill the raiding fun. And so now we've got to be out. And you remember these Azurai have that speed bonus in the desert. So they're actually kind of scary as hell. And you'll see the AI hates to be raided. It hates to be raided. And so that's one way you can do it. You can just hit the village a little bit and then run around and try to come back and hit it again, kind of wear it down over time. But if you want to just get it smoking as quickly as possible, this is where those other quicker options really come in to help you. So I come into the village, I'm going to take hostile action. I want you just to give me some recruits and they're going to defend. Now this time I'm going to fight. I just F1, F3'd. I still lost a few, but not nearly the 13 or so I lost in auto calc last time. So we win the battle. We continue. We take these recruits. I don't need them, but I'm going to take them. Where are we at roguery wise? We're already at 6 for the battle. Sometimes you get roguery for the battles. Sometimes you don't. I don't know what that's about. Now, remember, we know now that that party's coming. Let's say we want to just knock this thing down, get it smoking, and we got to get out, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take hostile action again because we've already got the recruits, and then we just top the village off. 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe. 3, and look. 4. And you can see how much faster that was. And so now we've shut this village down and we can continue out before the old guy even gets here, right? And there he is. You can see just so much faster that way. And where did we end up roguery-wise? At 18. Pretty good. But if you raided that whole village old style, it'd probably be in the 30s. But what I'm trying to tell you is, if you only have time to hit it quickly, just still do it, because you still get roguery. And you may not have time to do a full raid anyway. Now, you know Bobo Khan loves some good old-fashioned scorched earth raiding. But let me show you a scenario where a series of quickies can pay off majorly. So here we have ourselves a situation. Long story short, I screwed over Manchug. And my goal is to strike with my Bolden Horde to take a Kaiser Castle and Chaikand very quickly. Before I left the Khazate Khanate, I declared war on the Northern Empire. I was hoping that'd keep Manchug occupied up north while I was popping off down south. However, Lucan bent me over a barrel and declared peace after like 5 days. So now the wrath of the Khan's heading south. I did take the castle, but I'm going to have to defend it now, and I still need to take Chaikand. So there's a lot going on here, and I got no time to play slow burn on the villages. Now, I still need to take Chaikand, and let's take a look at it for a second. There's a few things to note just looking at the stats. So, first thing, it has level 3 walls. If you have level 1 walls, sometimes you can go brute force. People will tell you just build trebs and knock down the walls. The problem with that is you still have to fight in choke points, and number 2, then you have to rebuild the wall. Now, if you're just going to hand the fief off to someone else, it probably doesn't matter. But I don't want to spend the next 6 months rebuilding level 3 walls. So, I don't really want to blow the walls down. Although it is an option. You can see this fief is chock full of defenders too, because we've got 369 militia. They don't really matter that much. Pretty easy to handle them, but you also have that garrison of 276. But the most important stat in all of this is the food stocks. And look at the food stocks right there. 700. Wow. Someone's going for that stronghold economic victory. Granary's full, my lord. And let's talk about food for a second. Where does all the food in this town come from? Well, it comes from the villages. Villagers spawn from these villages and they carry their goods. You'll see he's going to town. If I get out of the way, he'll go. And then watch. When the villagers go to town, they'll drop their goods. Boom. Villagers sold a cheese, a sheep, and stuff like that. And every time they land there, look, they're taking a ton of grain, a ton of butter, and a ton of cheese. So the villages are what are pumping these food stocks up to 700. If all of a sudden the villages stop pumping the town full of food, then what happens? Well, now we've got to lean on our stocks to carry us until the villages are up and running. And now something amazing happens. Because that amazingly big badass garrison you have now becomes a huge liability, as you'll see. So what we're looking to do to weaken Chaikand up here is we want to shut off the flow of food. However, I'm taking over all of this, right? So I don't want to cause the most amount of damage. I really just want to do the least amount of damage. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take a hostile action. I don't need recruits. I'm just going to have them give me goods, right? There we go. It doesn't matter what I get here. I've got plenty of food. I've got plenty of money. Now, I've taken that initial hostile action. But the village is still functional, and the villagers will continue to carry goods to the village. So I'm going to have to top it off, and we're going to raid the village. Watch, I want you to see something. I lost 2 rep with the owner of the town, but look, I only lost 1 rep with the villagers. All right, they're not happy about it, but they'll get over it. And you can just bring them some tools, give them some mules, whatever, and you're back in good graces. All right, so it's not that big a deal. This is a great example of a situation where the quick raids are just super helpful. because the Khazate just showed up to take their castle back, but they're getting set up, right? So they're going to have to build the siege camp and then build the siege engines and go back and forth. I think I have like 75 troops in here. So this is going to take a couple days before they're ready to really start hitting the walls. I have a little bit of time, but I don't have a ton of time. So we're going to continue here to shut down that Chaikand food flow. So get some goods. Look at that, 49 grain. That's actually a nice little bump. Take hostile action and finish it off. And then I think we just have these two. Now you can always highlight a village like this and you can see trade-bound settlement. That's where it's taking its trade. But that one's going to Ortengard, so I don't need to worry about that. That's going to McKeb. So just these two up here, I think. I'm going to hit these grain villages first. Grain villages are notorious for bringing a ton of food to a town. Okay, and now that one's down. And there we go. Phase 1 is complete. The villages are all smoking. Shuts them down for about 15 days in game. No more food to Chaikand. And you can see the food stocks are already going down. Just you wait. And in the meantime, I can come over here. And this is my favorite thing about Akaiser Castle is this battleground you get to defend. Just this wide open steppe here. All right, castle's relieved. We're good. And this is what we're going to do. We're just going to play it safe for a while, kind of go on the defense while the town food stocks are melting. Relieve the siege round 2. Fight. It's a hug of love. That's what we call it. We just run around our enemies in a big old circle and put that hug of love on them. What I tell you, garrisons or foodies, and look right here. Look at those food stocks. Minus 108. Now they're coming down. Remember, if you toast these villages up till they're smoking, make a little village s'more, 15 days they're shut down. And you can see they're losing Hearths during this time. So they're going to lose like another, 15-ish, 20-ish Hearths just from having been raided. Now, I didn't do it the dirty way, so they didn't lose that many. But let me tell you something. They'll build back up. And let me also point out something. People are like, I don't want to lose prosperity because when you starve a town, you'll see I'm losing prosperity. But look at the prosperity I'm losing. By the time I'm done starving them out and everything, it'll probably be down to like 55, 5,600. It's no problem. You can build prosperity back very quickly. And just remember, this is the front lines now. All right? So it looks a little dirty over here. But as we take this over and solidify it under the Great Bobo Horde, these lands will begin to thrive because no one will be coming in here. And then these lands out here are going to get tore up a little bit, right? They're going to get raided. They're going to lose prosperity. So just because they're ahead of you in prosperity right now doesn't mean they'll stay that way. Plus, if you find a fief that you really want, take it. It's yours. But Chaikand is a great starter fief on the Khazate side. I mean, I really like to keep this one throughout the game because it has a grain village here and a grain village here. And as you noticed, it pumps this town full of food. So here we are from 700 food all the way down to 17. And all I did was run around and beat giant armies and make a ton of money the whole time I was weakened in this town. You see what I'm saying? I mean, yes, you could line up here and spend 11 days starving them out, blow down the walls, whatever, cause a ton of damage, but you don't need to do all that. So you can just besiege the town now. And look, we got 2 days of food, not 11. And it's going to take me a couple days to get all this set up. I probably would do Trebs here just because I like to build it once and build it right. And then once I knock down all of this siege equipment, I'm going, right? Because you're going to see this garrison's going to be gone by the time all this stuff gets built up. Look at the situation here now. All we have left is 362 militia. Most of the foodies are gone, and we've got this gal and her bodyguard. Now, the truth is, I could have taken this fief even with the garrison, and I probably would have. But what I want to show you is, you can take a fief with like 150, 250 guys. No problem. 200 Sturgian axemen would mulch these guys down. 100%. And that's the power of raiding. You can completely neutralize an area and then make the town exceptionally vulnerable to being taken. And now it's go time. And there we have it. The lovely Chaikand added to the Bobo Horde's fiefdoms. The only negative to doing it this way, as you can see, we've lost about 1,000 prosperity, which is a lot. And it's going to continue to tick down until we get the food situation stabilized. But please don't get all dramatic and twisted up over 1,000 prosperity like people love to do. It is no big deal. You can see we are already well past where we were when we started. And it took no time at all. Like I told you, prosperity comes roaring back as soon as you stabilize the area. And from a macro perspective, you can see we got plenty of Bannerlord left to let the town grow and thrive. At some point, enough nobles will join your faction and it will become large enough you won't have to worry about garrison sizes or anything. You'll just put together a massive horde and just start knocking things down. However, if you're not at maximum snowball yet, using tools like raiding can be very effective at helping you get that early empire started. And there you have it, Bannerlords. Some tips and tricks on raiding from the Great Bobo Khan himself. How blessed you are. Just remember, when you see those Empire and Valandia boys bragging about their big fief defense with their crossbowmen and their legionnaires and all that shit, that's when Bobo Khan comes and whispers in your ear. And what do I tell you? No food, no garrison. Something to remember, all right? Be patient and be ruthless, my young Khans. And all of Calradia shall be yours. Oklahoma out.